Hi, my name is Neal. I'm a battalion chief with Loudoun County Fire and Rescue, and this is my September 11th story. Back in September 2001, I was a firefighter, paramedic with Loudoun. I guess I've been working for about 4 years with the county, and I was had the privilege of being sent up to New York City about a week after 9/11 happened to relieve technician Linda Hale, who had been sent up there with the firefighter support team that was supported through Virginia Fire Departments, the National Fallen Firefighters, and FEMA. And the reason I got selected and sent up there was they said we need the most anal retentive, organized person to send up there to help organize their office because they were trying to do a lot of things. Our office for the firefighter support team was based about 50 blocks from Ground Zero. When I did arrive in New York via train, the first thing that was pretty obvious was coming out of the train station. The wall was just covered with missing persons notices that people had made on homemade copiers or with pictures that they'd posted. That was probably pretty shocking to me. I remember walking up those stairs, and it really came to be real at that point that all of those people were missing. At the firefighter support team office, we were in a floor of a hotel, and we provided counseling services or organized them for fire stations in New York that had been affected. A couple interesting memories from that. Remember, this is after a week after it had happened, and I had to spend an afternoon with a battalion chief who still worked there and a retired battalion chief. And on a dry erase board, they started making a list of every piece of apparatus that they could figure out was missing, and that was pretty awestruck that they're still trying to capture how many people and who exactly and what units were missing at Ground Zero. We also provided chaplains at Ground Zero, and we would take them back and forth, and they were there 24 hours a day. I spent a lot of time answering the phone and actually typing up memorial notices and funeral notices of all things for many of the firefighters that were missing. After I'd been there a week and it was time for me to come home, I had not been down to Ground Zero, so I got to drive the chaplains for their shift swap down to Ground Zero. So, I drove down West Street, which kind of goes along the river, and it kind of hooks a left turn around to the World Trade Center. And as I made the left turn and just came upon where the World Trade Center used to be, there were just these huge piles of debris that were there and a lot of armed military. And I remember looking at the scene and the size and scope of it, and I looked way across the debris pile, and way on the other side was a little tiny person who was walking on the sidewalk over there. And I remember thinking to myself that, wow, that's so far. This is such a huge disaster site. It was inconceivable. It was so big I couldn't even really wrap my head around it. And as I looked up to my left, there was a giant piece of metal, probably maybe 100 or 200 feet long. It was a huge piece of metal, and it was part of the World Trade Center, and it was just like a giant had jammed or stabbed this giant piece of metal into this other high-rise building that was next to where the World Trade Center was. It was just so big I couldn't conceive of the size of it. That's some of my memories from going up a week after 9/11 happened and helping out at the firefighter support team in New York.